In 2005, I was just 19 when I volunteered to go to Iraq and look for roadside bombs. My service changed my life. After 20 years, I want to help veterans tell their stories. Grab your whoopee, sit back and relax. I'm your host, Joseph Yankton, and this is Rank and File. So, tiny side quest. As being a carpenter, there's at least 100 things that I've done that I know to do or not to do, and I don't even think about it anymore, right? And so being in doing podcast stuff, this episode 6, like there's still 94 other things that need to go wrong or that I don't even know of that need to sort of be like the common flow. And it's like, you're not going to get good at anything until you make 100 mistakes. And if you can't handle the process of 100 mistakes and errors, being punished or disciplined or demoted or whatever, being accountable for your mistakes during that process, you don't deserve to be in that profession. Right. If you can't handle the process it takes to get through 100 mistakes, right, you don't deserve to be there. Right. Like if that process, and it could be due to bad leadership, but there's plenty of people who survive bad leadership, knowing that they're not going to be that kind of leader. Right. And that produces good leadership. So bad leadership can produce people who know what not to do now. Right. What was your time like in the Guard? And who were the leaders that you respected the most?
Oh, goodness. So I had a ton, right? And there was a lot of them that were not memorable, if that makes sense. Like there's just, there's a couple that are very memorable. You probably don't know this person, but his name was Kim Barstead.
Heard the name.
Heard the name. Devils Lake native. He was a warrant officer with my maintenance unit. I'm also a graduate with his daughter, very good friends with his daughter. And he was one of those. He was never even my leader, right? He was a warrant officer in a different platoon, but he had that grittiness, that he had that presence. Like he was like the stereotypical warrant officer, right? Like he knew what the hell he was talking about, and when he talked, you listened. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even like he wasn't even just a leader, just his knowledge that he brought to the table when it came to, he was actually allied trades warrant officer, so he was in charge of the welders and the machinists and stuff like that. But just, he had that presence, and he was a stereotypical warrant officer, gritty, but knew what he was talking about and was not afraid that he'd take you under his wing and he would show you the right way to do things, right? Not necessarily the military way, but the right way to do things. So he was one of them that stood out to me. I had he was a lieutenant at the time, ended up being my boss when I worked full-time as a federal technician out at Camp Grafton for a number of years. Jeremy Mallow. I think he's a major now. He's still in. I think
Major Mallow.
Major Mallow. Major Mallow. Yeah.
Some of these ranks before the names is legendary.
Major
right?
Mallow. Like, he might even be Lieutenant Colonel now. I don't know. I haven't.
General Mallow.
Him and I were, when we first got in. He's not much older than me. We were both enlisted together. He went OCS, and then he ended up working his way up. He's like, by the time I was got out of the Guard, he was a major at the time. Went the route where enlisted first, right? Was an NCO, and then went, which I think that should be the only way through to get your commission.
Yeah, Mustangs.
To only, not ROTC, whatever. I think you should have to be. How do you lead somebody without knowing how that works, right? How do you lead the enlisted soldiers without being enlisted yourself, right? I have a tough time with that. Like, how many coaches do you know that coach, professional football that have never played professional football? None of them, right? Like, not played professional football, but just played football in general, right? oh yeah, I played Madden when I was a kid. Now I'm a professional football player or football coach. Like you just don't. You got to do before you can lead, I believe.
Well, can we talk about that a little
Absolutely.
bit? Okay, so, yeah, that's an interesting concept, and the term Mustang is one of the highest titles that can be earned in that process, and ideally, extra respect is given because you have both the blue and the white side,
Right.
You know,
Blue collar,
green
white
and the
collar.
gold, I think they call it, and they become such an asset to the organization, whatever unit they're with. But if I can be devil's advocate on that officer thing, I think there has to be some utility in having people go straight to the officer program, and that, I don't know, I'm trying to work out the thought as we're doing this, but it's kind of like maybe parents and kids. I've told my kids plainly, and they know this now, it's like, it's not my job to be your friend.
Right.
It's my job to be your parent.
Right.
I need to keep you safe, protected, need to educate you, make you as valuable of a human being to society, and as helpful of a person as I can get you until you're, to this point. And then if you want to be friends with me after that, it's fine. But like, we're not friends. We can be friendly.
Right.
I'll put my life on the line for you, but don't mistake my kindness for weakness.
Right.
And there's the boundary line, and there's no parenting journey from beginning to to the grave that would ever be perfect. There's times when you think you're getting it better than others, but then it's the parenting is the best thing that's ever happened to me, right?
Right.
And so going back to enlisted versus officers, I think the officer program is good, but I think it's the person that can get raised. It's whatever happens to them before they get to OCS that makes them a good officer or bad officer at any given time, because you get moved around so fast. You get used to an officer, you like him, and then obviously he moves. But then you get a new officer, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, we're getting a new officer. Comes in, and granted, I was National Guard. I only experienced my two tours for 1 year in Iraq, and then my 1 week in a month. So my exposure to officer personalities is pretty slim. But it's like, where was I going with that? I almost lost it. The good leaders in your life didn't just be good the whole time. Like, they learned from their bad stuff. And so, and we were talking offline, like, the person I was between 2006 when I got home, 2007, and me leaving North Dakota and coming to Minnesota, if I was God, I would squish that piece of clay, and I'm like, okay, no, you're do over, because I was such a bad person. But I reflect on that almost daily of like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to model that. Like that's terrible behavior.
Right.
And
so you're kind of saying like someone going straight to OCS or like not being enlisted, like they're not jaded, they're not tainted.
They need to experience cocky NCOs.
Right.
And in that friction, to know how to handle a smoother friction when they're given more responsibility. If they're given more responsibility. And I think that conflict needs to happen where, I hate the phrase when someone meets me, they're like, oh, hey, good to meet you. Like, give it a minute. just don't unbuckle your seatbelt yet. Just hang on. You haven't known me long enough. Like, we'll see.
My experience has always been like, and I'm not saying like, oh, like I like these officers better because they're friend. No, like by any means. Like, yes, there's some of them that are, we were friends first, but there's something to be said about doing before you can teach, or, being enlisted before you lead, like perspective, right? But I also get the other side of it too, where, they're not tainted. They're not everybody's friend. You're not out drinking beers with them or whatever. I do get that aspect of it. Just my experience is those that I was enlisted with, I shouldn't even say enlisted with, because most of them I was just the one I was enlisted with. We were in the same unit, but they know how things work. I think they know how to lead because they did, right? Like your childhood modeled how you're a parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
How, like you're not just like, you're a parent now, forget everything that you learned when you were a child. It made you a better parent because been there, done that, right? Like learn from my mistakes, and that's kind of way that's one of the ways I learned, like trial and error.
You're such a good company engineer because I know how to be a bad company engineer.
Right, exactly.
And I didn't get fired.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, but I feel like the people that I've, been under that have that type of background, I learned from more. And I don't want to say I respected more, and I think that's the biggest thing is, like, in the military, how do you respect somebody because you feel like it's just given to them, right? Like, you didn't have to go through any of this that we all had to go through,
But they also went through something that
I didn't go through
obviously at the moment, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you're not looking at the wider picture.
Right.
Just
I get it. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so there are psychos,
right,
like clinical psychopaths, that enter every aspect of society, hopefully on the tiniest, minute scale.
Right.
And the military is no exemption.
Right.
And so the ones that enter and become officers, they know what they can do to inflict pain and suffering, and they know what not to do to get caught. And so they travel between this line of getting caught and doing. And so I think that's going to be everywhere in society. But I had experience with an officer. It was, he saw me. I was transferring from the infantry 2136 in Bemidji to 334 the BSB in Hutchinson as I got promoted to E5. And I hated transferring because I joined the Minnesota National Guard Infantry because I was a combat engineer. And then when I was before my 11B school, they put my promotion packet through after 2 weeks at AT, and I got picked up for E5 right after I got my blue cord. So I wore my blue cord for 1 month, like 1 month. Yeah. And then you get promoted to E5 sergeant with the engineers in Hutch. I'm like, no, that's the exact opposite of what it said. But anyways, I went down there. This officer, he's like, oh, you're coming from the infantry, huh? I'm like, yes, sir. Well, I suppose you know how to shoot expert. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, we'll see. He had no idea that my squad leader was a sniper, SWAT sniper, Beltrami County deputy. Yep. And he invited me to shoot offline with him with a private shooting group, just military and law enforcement. Yep. And I really enjoyed precision shooting. Right. And so his insult was like, bro. But I didn't, but as an enlisted, I'm like, yes, sir, I know how to shoot. And I was new to the unit. I didn't want to, I know what being a prideful asshole. Right. I know where that path, I've been down, I don't want to go down. I want to be humble. I want to, like, okay, yes, sir. And so we're on the range, and we have red dots. And I went up, qualified expert. I missed 1-2 targets, whatever. Still got my expert. Yep. And he comes over, he's like, what'd you shoot? I said, expert. He's like, oh, okay. Well, I know whose gun, I'll use. I'm like, okay, sir. Like I swear to God, he literally said, "Oh, I'll know who."
It's the gun, yeah.
Yeah.
My gun got expert.
Right. Yeah, my gun qualified expert. Yeah, I just set it down. Yeah.
I just set it there.
Right. So, and I was playing a Game Boy or Pokémon emulator on my phone. Sitting in the shade. And well, his turn to qualify. And he's like, Sergeant, can I? I'm like, go ahead, knock yourself out. I'm like, absolutely, sir. No problem. And I'm like. I just put his way, and all of a sudden my platoon sergeant comes over. He's like, "Where's the LT?" I was like, "He was on the range." Like, has he not qualified? I'm like, "Wait, whoa, it's been like 20 minutes." So, I don't know, sir, or I don't know, sergeant. He's like, "Come on." I'm like, okay. And he's like, and I think I mentioned, I'm like, "Oh, he has to use my rifle." He's like, he's not even shooting his own rifle. I'm like, yes, for mine.
Right.
And you
Mine shoots
and
expert.
he's like, he's like, I'm like, I know, but he's like, and he looks at me. I'm like, he asked for my rifle. Like, okay,
right.
And so he comes offline. He didn't qualify. That was like his second go.
But your rifle qualified expert.
He didn't. Yeah. And so the platoon sergeant. It was just me, him, and me, LT, platoon sergeant, and LT comes over. He's like, he told the platoon, he's like, I didn't qualify, but he's like, no, sir, you're going to go up and qualify. Yankton, you're going to go up with him and like give him his rifle back. Like, I'm like, okay. And he was trying to play it off, and my E7's like, no, get back up there. And I'm like, yes, sir. And so I get up online, and the first thing I do is I don't shoot on the pavement. I shoot in the dirt.
Right.
That's all I was taught. And so when you get there, he lays on the thing. I'm like, sir, get in the dirt. But I'm like, sir, get in there. I'm like, sir, move over and shoot in this position right beside the, and he's like, what? I'm like, trust me. Just, okay. And then I'm like, pretend your magazine is a bipod. Okay, You need to put forward pressure on that thing. Get your legs straight up, put your tippy toes on, put forward pressure. Make sure that barrel does not move unless you want it to. And he ended up shooting sharpshooter.
Yeah.
I got up.
With his own gun?
I could have got up. I could have got up. And I could have humiliated the boots off of this guy.
Right.
I didn't want that relationship.
Right.
I know what that gets me.
Yeah.
I know what it's gotten me. And so I said, he's like, thanks, Aaron. I'm like, yeah, no problem, sir. And I was not being a dick about it.
Right.
When we go, and so we were staying at a hotel and had a bar, and it was me and one of my specialists, and we were sitting drinking, just having a fun time. LT comes over, and he looks at me, and we have that moment, that communication, like, he's like, hey, how you guys doing? I'm like, oh, hey, sir. He's like, what you drinking? I'm like, oh, I'm just, whatever. And he's like, okay, well, thanks for all your guys' hard work today. I'm like, yeah, no problem, sir. The rest of the night, the beers paid for.
Nice.
And that was I was going to pay for my buddy, the guy who crossed me beers anyways.
Yeah.
But so I knew it was in the most subtle way that a man who's been humbled, I think, can communicate respectfully. And he didn't need to, he had no, he didn't need to do that at all.
Right.
And so from that moment though, because I chose not to be an evil person, just like, and you're like, oh, well, he deserved it. Like, I didn't want whatever that outcome of me doing that would entail. I wanted the future to be smoother. And honey attracts more fly. Doing the good thing, doing the right thing. And it's like, well, I don't have a lot of experience doing that, but in that moment I did the right thing, and it proved so beneficial for me. And I didn't need to do it in front of the guys to prove like it was just, but it was an amazing situation between me and one of my last officers.
Right. So like going to basic training from North Dakota, right? You ever shot an AR or a M16 before? No. How'd you shoot so well? I was born with a freaking rifle in my hand, right? That's all I did. Look, what do you mean? I just went in my backyard and shot shit for fun.
Iron sights was all.
Where do you?
All the 22s.
Where are you from? Where you could do that?
We didn't have scopes on our guns.
North Dakota. Oh, okay. Like you get some of these people that have never shot a gun before. They join the military and they're like, yeah.
So the other thing I think we talked about, like, oh, you're only National Guard. So when I reached out to you, you're like, well, I didn't deploy to a combat zone.
Right.
Like, that doesn't matter. Like you joined, you served, you did what the state wanted you to do honorably. You got out, you served, you helped. And so I want to remove that stigma of that phrase, like, oh, well, he's just National Guard. Be like, okay, ignorant person saying that. Let me educate you on what the National Guard does. So let's go back to 2009 flood fight.
So 2009, like I said, in 2008, I had moved back down to Minneapolis. I got out of the Guard. I think it was like 8 months. And I was lost for 8 months, right? Like, it's weird. Like, it's 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, whatever. But like, I was working. I because I have a history of volunteer firefighter. Obviously, I'm a paid first responder. Like that sense of like giving to your community, or like that's who I am as a person, right? I've been in the Guard for, at that time it was like 6 years. I think it was after my first initial.
Mm-hmm.
My first initial enlistment, and then I had like a 1 year, stayed on for 1 year and didn't do another 6 year because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, right? Got out, I was out for 8 months because we moved down here and I was just lost, right? So I'm like, told my wife, I'm going to get back into the military. And she's like, okay. At the time we were still living down here. I got back into the North Dakota National Guard. Well, my wife was a flight attendant for Northwest Airlines. So I was like, guard drill. Free flight, just hopped on a flight back to Devils Lake, North Dakota, right, for guard drill.
Nice.
So like, how'd you get here? Well, I just flew. What do you mean you flew? Well, I don't live in North Dakota anymore. Anyways, neither here nor there. Got back in, and I hadn't even been to a guard drill yet. And I get a phone call. And they're like,
April.
Yeah, April of
Like April 23rd, I think it was.
2009. I get a phone call. You got to be in Fargo tonight. And I'm like, for what? Well, you haven't heard, it's flooding. Like, okay.
Operation Raging Rivers in effect.
Yep.
Like
Okay.
active duty orders.
So I show up in Fargo, and everybody else a lot of other people had showed up in Jamestown.
Yeah, that's where I had to go.
In Jamestown, right? While I was coming from Minneapolis. Like,
So
you want me to drive
coming
through
from
Fargo
opposite ends,
and go to Jamestown to come back to Fargo, right? They're like, no, just go to Fargo, report to the armory there.
That's where we had the recruit training center was in. That's where all the drills were.
What do they call it? The reserve center or something like that?
Yep, Fargo.
Yep.
I think
So
Air Force
report
is
there.
there
I was like, okay. So I report there at like 5 p.m., right? And they're like, who are you? Like, I don't even have a uniform, guys. Like, I turned all my stuff in. Like, I don't even have a uniform. When I show up, they're like, who are you? Like, Specialist Hoffman, 817th. Yeah. We called you guys. They're coming. But your guys, the rest of your guys probably aren't going to be here till tomorrow morning. It's like, okay, where's your uniform? I'm like, I don't have one. Like, I got nothing. Like, right here, this is what I have. And obviously I packed some civilian clothes, right? Or whatever. And I got a Harley Davidson jacket.
Okay. You didn't have a snowmobile jacket?
No.
Like Arctic Cat? Yeah.
No, yeah, it's like a Harley Davidson jacket. And what I was wearing. And they're like, well, we'll talk to your unit. We'll get you something. So what do you want me to do? Well, we need an A driver for a dump truck. It's like, okay, they throw me in some riding bitch in a dump truck all night long.
Some other
right?
soldiers.
I've never met this dude. So we're in a dump truck and we're moving dirt around Fargo, North Dakota for the first night, and then the next day.
Okay, cool. That's fun. For the non-military types, like, tell how instant the bond is that you don't care. It's just another soldier that was told to be there. That person showed up just like you did.
Yep.
And suddenly
he had a uniform on.
Okay, but suddenly it's like where you come from, like it doesn't
matter.
Your differences don't even
right.
Don't exist. Right now it's all about the same focus, the mission. Like why you guys are both there. Like that's
essentially I was his ground guide. Like
that's
it, right? Like when he's backing into dump, like that was my job, right? So the next day rolls around and
tell them how crazy that night was, because I got into Fargo. I was going to bartend or do bar backing at Buck's Roadhouse in Bismarck. I was a bar back.
Buck's Roadhouse.
And so I would go there, and I was drinking my 2 beers because they would let you have, I think it was 2 beers and pizza. It was kind of like this little thing before your shift. So I got out from class, went to the bar. I was going to have my 2 beers and a pizza before clocking in for work.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, and the boss was bartending, and then I get my phone call. I'm like, what? Right now? All right, okay. He's like, what was that? I'm like, I got to go to Fargo, or I got to go to Jamestown. He's like, and he went to reach for me. I'm like, no. I'm going to finish these. This might be the last one. He's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah, I have to go. Like, for what? I'm like, Fargo's flooding. Right. He's like, oh yeah. Well, when are you going to be back? I'm like, I don't know. I just got to go.
Right.
He's like, okay, well, send me something when you have legit paper. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta go. So I chugged my 2 beers fast and ate my little tiny pizza.
Yeah.
And then I got my whatever I could from my dorm because I was sitting at Bismarck State College. And then I headed out. Just got to Jamestown. They gave me a Gore-Tex jacket, mitts. Some of us had boots if they had the size. And then they're like, get to Fargo. Right. And they put me in a dump truck.
Yeah.
And rode around dump truck while it went from sleeting to snowing. In April. Yeah, just the worst. I mean, guys didn't have uniforms.
Yep.
And then some first sergeant comes in, and first sergeants are like the uniform cops of the military.
We knew each other, obviously. We knew who each other were, but I don't remember. But you and I were probably in the same room when all this happened. Because I recall the same event. Just I did. Oh, that's Joseph. Like I said, it's a room full of soldiers.
You shouldn't be expecting to know another person from your hometown.
Right.
Yeah. And so this first sergeant comes up, and we're all a hodgepodge. There's guys that have uniforms, that guys have matching tops and
Harley Davidson
ACUs.
Jackets.
Right. BDUs and ACUs are still kind of flopping around.
Right.
This first one's like, hey, what's going on here? And we're like, oh, and the guys that have the Arctic Cat snowmobile jacket on, or Carhartt, and it's just right. Why you guys all looking like? Well, my uniform's here, my unit just he's like, just stay warm. Right. Just focus on the mission. If they have any problems, make them come talk to me. Right. I authorize this. Guys, stay warm. And then you're like, really? And some guys were like freezing because they just wanted to stay in their uniform. They only had their tops.
Right. Now they go out to their car, get their Carhartts because
everyone had Carhartts, and they just we knew how to stay warm. We always had warm stuff.
So the first thing I did the next day, I woke up. We didn't have to report because we got put on the night shift right away. So I didn't have to report until 5 p.m. the next day. First thing I did was went to Home of Economy and bought some Carhartts.
I didn't have money. I didn't get paid for 5 weeks.
Like I had a big boy job at the time. Like I worked for Frito-Lay at the time, so I had money, right? So I go to I think Home Economy or Runnings or I don't know what it was. And
I wish I would have ran into
Fleet Farm. It was Fleet Farm in Fargo, and got some Carhartts, and that's what I wore.
Over in Moorhead.
Yeah, that's what I wore for the first 3 weeks before it took 3 weeks for me to get my Gore-Tex jacket and my
reissue.
Right. I was borrowing some other dude's ACUs. We just got the ACUs issued. When I got out, I had BDUs. We got ACUs when I got back in.
And deployment parties and units were issued the first wave. Like we were getting the first. So home units were getting.
So I got some other dudes' ACUs that I'm wearing when I'm not wearing Carhartts, right? And for 3 months, like I volunteered to stay as long as possible, right? Like I had the ability to. I was making more money on flood duty. We were getting paid like E7s. It was crazy.
When I finally started getting paid, I was like, oh wow, this is
good money. So I said, I was like, I'm going to stay on as long as possible, like 3 months. But we were there together in the same unit, right? And
did you do the Shriners?
Yes.
We got to stay in the Shriner building.
In the Shriner building,
and then we tore up the golf course.
On the golf course, and they were.
We built a dirt box, like mine block. Mine.
I don't know if you guys know this, but greens at golf courses are really expensive, and they get really pissed when you drive skid steers across them.
Low income idiots with a Humvee just
right across their green. They were not happy. But guess what? They didn't lose their clubhouse that they just built.
And we were sleeping on the floors.
Yeah,
until we got the hotel room figured out. We were sleeping
on
on the floors.
On the floor in a clubhouse.
I don't remember complaining.
What's that?
I don't remember complaining. When you see these videos of guys,
and what were we drinking?
Airports? Huh?
What were we drinking?
Floodweiser.
Floodweiser.
Oh man, I hope we clip this episode. Floodweiser. Yes.
Anheuser-Busch halted production and started canning water in these white Budweiser cans. It literally was like a white Budweiser can. You guys, it is the nastiest tasting water I've ever had. It tasted like
I got the taste in my mouth. Yeah. But it was Floodweiser. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
We call it Floodweiser.
Yeah.
And we had pallets of this stuff, right? And that's what we drank, like cracking a can of water.
Right.
It was.
I just started drinking. It's called
Death water.
And I literally until you just said right now, I'm like, why didn't I think of Floodweiser when I cracked that thing?
I tried that Death water once, and I'm like, nope. PTSD.
Floodwater?
I couldn't do it.
Man, okay, I didn't even. Well, I guess I was.
So we got there, right? And I don't have anything. but our unit is, it's probably average age. The unit we were in was the youngest kids in the entire state of North Dakota as far as age-wise for an entire unit. It was a combat unit, right? Most younger people are in them.
I was 21, I was 23.
Right. And you were probably one of the old guys.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I did,
I was 20, I was 24, 25. And so what do they do with the young guys? They're the laborers. So we would
HESCO barriers.
HESCO barriers. Dude, HESCO barriers were the greatest thing ever invented. We got to use them in Fargo and then they just disappeared. And
who took them down?
Well, right. But what I'm saying is disappeared is like when we went to Jamestown Valley City, like, here's your sandbags.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like, there's HESCO barriers. Like, I'd take that bag in a heartbeat. But I threw sandbags 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 months straight. And we would build this dike, right, out of sandbags, and we're like, oh, sweet, we're done. We get to start walking the dike and patrolling the dike at night. And then they bring in this water purification unit behind us or whoever, and they're like, yeah, you guys are going to Jamestown. Why? There's some dikes that need to be made. And I'm like, come on. Like, we just got done busting our ass for 2 weeks on this, and now we got to go build another one, and someone else gets to come by and do the easy work. You guys, I was so jacked. I don't think you know what a sandbag weighs. Most people don't. They're like 50, 60 pounds, and we did thousands a day for
I was
90 days.
I was pretty fit. That was a very fit time of my life. So one of I experienced, what's a more crazy experience? National Guard deploying to combat or National Guard deploying to save your hometown or save, one of the towns in your state. I got to witness going into a house, and we had to go tell this family that was on the wrong side of the dike that we just built that they need to leave. And so the dad, the man, like, he had, it was him and his wife and a couple kids. He didn't know how to release. He was trying to be he didn't want to be violent, but he was going through such emotion.
Right.
And it was hard. It was like seeing what he was going through, and like we had to tell him, like, if you don't, and something happens, we can't help you. Like we're telling everybody on this side. We didn't get to decide that this is the line. Okay. Right. And it's the most, man. That was like you're gonna lose your house.
Like exactly. It's not a matter of
you have the wrong side of the line.
You're gonna lose your house.
You have to get out. Yeah. And
you got 2 hours. Take what you can, get out.
And I was like that. Wow, that was hard. And so when I got the flood ribbon like that, it's like you look at my the ribbons. It was like that one, the blue and with 3 white stripes, like that. And holy crap, that was
just the sense of community. Like I was not from any of those communities, right?
But they were us. They were people.
But you go there and like you'd have to tell 80-year-old women like put the shovel down, right? Like, but it's their house. Like everybody came together. It was amazing.
But no one seemed to come out at midnight to give us cookies.
Right.
No one gave us care packages.
I didn't have a hot meal for a month and a half. Right? They're like, oh yeah, we have hot meals getting delivered today.
During flood duty.
What's that?
The caffeine, the nicotine.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a smoker, still not a smoker.
Right.
That I was able to get the boost of nicotine during flood duty.
I didn't have a hot meal for a month and a half. They're like, oh, what do you mean you didn't get a hot meal? We delivered it. I'm like, yeah, but by the time it got to me, it wasn't hot. Like, here's some cold scalloped potatoes, right? Like, but at the same, like, that didn't matter. Like, you were helping the community. There were some bad apples, right?
Yeah,
like,
we were part of the relief force. Yeah.
There's a couple places we went to and it was the higher income areas that were pissy because we're driving a skid steer through their beautiful backyard.
Oh, let's talk about the skid steers. So when I got there, these, and this is just, anecdotal, but what I was told, or what the word was, like, the Bobcat factory.
Yeah,
they all the workers volunteered, and the Bobcat factory donated all the machines they could.
Yep.
And these things ran. It was like they were on rails.
Yep.
We didn't see a single accident. There was nothing. I'm not embellishing this a single bit. These guys, these men and women who were operating these, it was precision equipment operating.
Yep.
They weren't driving these things. So the biggest insult you can give an operator is calling them a driver.
Right.
These were operators, and they were, these,
like they
the
shut
bigger HESCO containers
they shut the
are
factory
what,
down. Like they shut the factory down, and the factory workers were the ones driving the skid steers for us.
There was zero, I had zero concern of fear of getting run over. They were experts. It was amazing. And what are the size? 8 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot. Anyways, they would be lifting, and like I saw one get up on his track, like what the heck?
Were you part of the the incident in Jamestown where we got a skid steer stuck?
No, I didn't hear
so
that.
we got a bobcat stuck down by the river in Jamestown. So at that point, we were going through yards, and the only reason that we're using the skid steers is we had they were bringing the pallets, so we didn't have to have as long of a line throwing sandbags. They'd bring pallets and place the pallets. Well, the skid steer got stuck, right? But the floodwaters were coming up. We couldn't get it out. They brought in a semi-wrecker, and it was pulling the semi-wrecker backwards. Like this thing was suction cupped into the mud so bad.
Because the track would move. It had this
it was suction cupped into the mud. Like we tried a Hemet wrecker, couldn't get it out with a Hemet wrecker. I was at that time still a track vehicle mechanic, and I was actually
what a Hemet is.
A Hemet, a 6-wheel drive.
So the Hemet records have
8-wheel drive.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I think there's 9. Or
this one,
in the back,
this one,
2 in the front.
This one had 2 in front, 2 in back.
Okay.
The record did. And it's big.
Yeah.
We couldn't get this thing out.
And
right.
The front 2 axles. Yeah.
Turn.
The bolt. Yeah. So
couldn't get this thing out. They ended up leaving it there, and it flooded. They had to dig it out with an excavator to get it out eventually. But I had the problem solved because I was a track vehicle mechanic, and I'd also been to recovery school. Right? What did the 817th have for us in recovery vehicles?
I can't remember.
We had an M88.
Oh, geez.
But they would not let me. They're like, "Oh, you can't drive that. You'll wreck the roads." And I'm like,
"Wreck what? Compared to what?"
But the thing is that skid steer probably has more ground pressure than that M88 does. With the tracks are this wide on that thing. They would not let me bring that M88 down to there to try to pull that thing out. I mean, it gets
Dude,
Abrams unstuck.
I mean,
like it's literally a tow truck for tanks, and they wouldn't let us. There's like 3 of us.
You know why? You came up with the idea,
right? That were recovery certified. That wouldn't. Yep. But me and Jay Schlofelt. You remember Jay? I don't know if you know. Him and I were the 2 recovery guys for the unit. He was in U5 at the time. I was in U4 at the time. We're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go get it. And they're like, you're not driving that thing around here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's like right on top of the hill. It's only like 2 miles away. Like we don't even need to put it on a truck. We can just drive it down here. No, that's going to tear up the roads. And I'm like, what? The roads are going to flood. Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
But no, we just let this.
So you didn't communicate it in a way to make them think that it was
right.
Right.
We just let this $50,000 machine that was donated to us by Bobcat just. I mean, I'm sure there's insurance, but whatever. Like we just let it go. But
I had
they dug it out with a skid steer out of the dude with an excavator out of the dude's backyard later. Okay. Actually, I think they brought a C out there. You remember what the C is? The
C truck?
The C truck. They used a C truck to dig it out. Yeah.
The bastard child of all Army
yes.
engineer vehicles.
Yeah.
The one that you travel more than 10 miles an hour, and it's
it's a truck with a loader and a. It's a truck with a loader on the. It's a Mercedes. I think it's an old Mercedes.
It's a Mercedes chassis.
With Mercedes chassis with a
goofy, worthless
loader on the front and this stupid weird.
That backhoe is super powerful. Because so you had swing pedals, left and right swing, and then you had four sticks.
Right.
And you had to.
But you literally.
I love that thing.
You literally rode the backhoe. Like there was no cab. You just sat on the back. Like you rode the backhoe.
It would fold out of the box.
I felt like the little kid. I felt like the little kid at the playground on that little seat.
That's what I mean. Dude, we were going to deploy as the obstacle company to Iraq, and so we brought a bunch of vehicles down. We had a crane. We had like D8, D9. We had all the big construction vehicles. So I was like, I'm a 4th platoon.
Right.
We're gonna do this. This is our mission. And so we went to the fields in Fort Riley, and we got to play in the dirt. And yeah, and like Bobcat, we were going to do like fob construction and, you know, repair, that kind of thing. And those couple of days in training, running that because the one lever extends the bucket, extends the arm. Like the only good thing on that thing was the backhoe.
Yeah, that was the only piece of machinery.
Yeah, you put the outriggers down.
Yeah,
the ass of this thing sticks in the air.
Yeah,
but dude, you could dig. Dude, that thing was ridiculous.
Right.
Like,
it's
who
like
designed and approved the stats on this? This is ridiculous.
It's like the military equivalent of the El Camino.
Yeah, we need to put all of this into this. It needs to fit, you know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Let's put a backhoe, a race car, you know, like the most floppy suspension.
It was a van with a loader on the front and a backhoe on the back.
Dude, and I couldn't believe it.
And it felt like the wheelbase was like the wheelbase of this table, right? And
it just wobbled. It was so funny, but yeah, I would love to buy one. I would love to actually buy it.
Right. You'd have been better off like putting a loader and a backhoe on a Humvee than this thing. Like,
for real.
They were not as, it was Frankenstein.
Awesome.
But yeah, they had to, that's what they used.
Worthless, but yeah.
Right. I mean, that's what they used to get that out. To get that. Yeah.
I remember seeing it for the first time, like, what the hell? Like, oh, it's a C truck. Like, the what? They're like, I'm like, no, it's spelled with an S. It's not the actual letter C.
Right. But it's like an SEE truck.
So I don't know what story that happened during flood, and I have no idea what their actual names were, but it's a funny story because Ron White produced one of his comedy specials.
Yep.
And we were in the hotel. I watched his comedy special, and his two jokes that I remembered that I retold the next morning. And we were in, Harwood. We were in Blackwater, pumping sandbags with some community members.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's been at least 2 months now we've been doing this. Well, 2 months at that point, and you pass the time by telling stories, talking smack, kind of just joshing people. Well, there's one guy that we called Princess because apparently he went on deployment and never used the porta potty. Like, how did you survive deployment without ever you going in the jump? No, it's just below me. Like, what? And standards. What? Cool. You were able to do that. You should get an award for that. But
you are now Princess.
He went and so that was my nickname. Very sarcastic, jerk thing. And then he went and the next day he was with another group of some civilians. They, on their own, ended up calling him Princess. So two people, we nicknamed this guy, and we were probably bullying, and that that would probably be, that's what it's called. Well, he picked me out of the crowd to sort of enact his revenge. Very clever, and we were just telling jokes and stuff. And there's some like really bad jokes that soldiers can tell. Like we can go down a pretty bad road, and I retold a couple jokes from Ron White's, and it was like, I was arrested after landing in Dallas for having a eighth of an ounce of marijuana in my luggage. When I'm down to an eighth of an ounce of marijuana, I consider myself to be out of marijuana. That was the one joke, and then the other one was similar to that. But it was literally line for line Ron White's jokes. All of a sudden, first sergeant or sergeant major rolled up, and he's like, "Hey, specialist, can you come with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." So I'm like, "I'll do anything to get out of these waiters. Like we're in Blackwater, right?"
Does everybody know what Blackwater is?
Like we're in like sewage backed
water.
up, and so we're in shitwater.
Shitwater.
And so we're in shitwater. Telling jokes, trying to have the best, we're just and I'm not attacking, and so, but I told this marijuana joke,
right?
And I'm the only native in this group. Okay, let's just add that little detail. So, I have my Jeep, I have a Grand Cherokee Laredo, and I just, everyone carpooled with me that morning. And he's like, "Do you have your vehicle here?" I'm like, yeah. Well, let's go walk to it. I'm like, okay, I have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. We get down there. There's a sheriff side by side with two deputies. One has a canine, and they're like, "Which one's your vehicle?" I'm like, "This one." And I have no idea what's going on. I've never done drugs.
Right.
I'm not that dude. Like I'm still very ignorant on the whole what drugs look like. It's just never been a part of my life. And I have no reason to fear law enforcement. So I'm like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, so I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. Like, I still have no idea what's happening. And they're like, now would be the time to, you have an amnesty period. I'm like, what? I am so clueless what's happening. And they're like, well, and they're kind of confused. The two deputies are like, what's going on? And first like, well, we have reason to believe they might be in possession of some, drugs. I'm like, huh? I am so like, what? And they're like, and so my authenticity is coming across.
Right.
Like he's literally either the best liar we've ever seen, or this guy has no idea what we're talking about. And they're like, well, can we search your vehicle? You're like, you want to search? You think what? I don't do. But the night before, I actually we had some time. I detailed the crap out of my Jeep. I took everything out, vacuumed and everything, because I'm like, they asked me if I'd carpool with them. I was like, yeah, we can carpool with my Jeep. So I detailed it. And then okay, we want to search, there's like, okay, sure, yeah, go ahead.
Like,
yeah,
just cleaned it.
Put everything back the way it was, whatever. And I'm sitting, they're just like, sounds good. And I'm just kind of crossing my arms and watching them, and I'm like thinking, and I was like, what is going on? And I'm like, wow. And so they're searching, the dog's going around, and they're taking stuff out of the back. And I was like, is this because I told a couple of Ron White jokes? And the one deputy looked up, and we're like, we talking about, like, I told some Ron White jokes about marijuana. He had his special last night talking about weed. And then the one deputy stopped. And then he's like, what were the jokes? And I told him, and he's like, yeah, I watched that last night too. Is that what this is about? Like, are you serious? You and I'm like, first time. And he started to backpedal. Like he found out, like, oh, this is not a good position to be, like, I could see it. And I was like, and I was hot on his heels. Like he was backpedaling. You saw that, how ridiculous of a allegation could be bestowed upon me. And like, oh crap, we made a wild presumption here. We acted on no evidence. We acted on a tip of a tip of a tip. And oh gosh, okay, what's going on? I'm like, are you searching me because I told a Ron White joke while we were, he's like, that's inappropriate. I'm like, what do you mean inappropriate? It's a joke. It's Ron White's material. I've never smoked weed in my life.
Right.
Who said I? And then I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, Princess did this. And I'd like, and so I was pissed. I was royally pissed. I don't know if I felt offended, but like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is like, and those deputies like, sorry to take your time. They were respectful, like, sorry, like, and the dog was just like, just being the super happiest dog you've ever seen. And they're like, we're done here. So they packed up, and one got in the squad and the other one and they left. And the first time just didn't want to even look at me. I'm like, are you serious? So if we're taking jokes seriously now, what about all the other crazy, and I'm not even going to go into the variety of, but it's like, if you're going to take the nature of the joke and what's in it as like, okay, well, if you tell a joke about murder, are they murderers now? For example. And I'm like, oh, but you picked me out, and I was going, he's like, specialist, you need to discipline yourself right now. I'm like, me? And he had to walk with me all the way back to the thing. I was livid. He's like, he gave me another one. He's like, I'm like, okay, fine. First, this is bullshit. He's like, good day, specialist. And I got back in there, and I'm like, what was that about? Well, first when I got back in, the princess, he was like, and then when he saw me, I'm like, you, and he just, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what happened now. And yeah, he found the tiniest little thing to get me in trouble. Told him that I have weed because I'm telling a weed joke.
You should have went and filled his waders up.
Dude, like, I could not believe this. And I've never ever, so dude, like, that happened during, like, while I was like, why is it happening to me?
Right.
And I said the stupid victim thing. I'm like, it's because I'm native. Like, you picked one native weed joke. And I was like, oh, come on. I was pissed.
So the coolest experience during that 3 months or whatever. So towards the end, in Valley City, they came up with this crazy idea, like, you know what seed bags are? Like, farmers have their seed bags.
Oh yeah, the brown bags.
The big white bags. They're like, well, we could fill those up with sand, and that's a 2,000-pound sandbag. But how do we get them into place? So we were sling loading them from Blackhawks, and I got to be the one like directing them where to go. It was the coolest thing ever. Like,
it's like air assault stuff.
Yeah. Yep. And our guys that were air assault certified, because we had quite a few that were.
And air assault means you know how to do all loads for heavy lifting and transport.
Yep. So they were the ones like hooking them up and rigging them and stuff, but I got to be the one, telling them where to drop it, which was super cool. I went through like 6 pairs of sunglasses.
A National Guard combat controller.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice. Your sandbag. Yeah.
Drop the sandbag. Drop the sandbags.
Yeah.
But no, it was really cool. I went through like 6 pairs of sunglasses because I was just in rotor wash for 12 hours a day. But it was fun. That was the coolest thing ever.
Any Chinooks? Any big lifters out there?
No, there was just Blackhawks.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they didn't have any. The North Dakota National Guard didn't have any Chinooks. It's all Blackhawks, and
okay, yeah,
it was Kiowas at the time, but now they have Lakotas, and so part of when I was after that, right after the flood, I got a job as a federal technician, which for those of you who don't know is a Department of Defense employee, but you have to have work for the National Guard in order to hold the position. You wear your uniform to work, but you're not military. Like, it's so weird.
And it actually accumulates towards your active duty retirement points.
Does not.
Doesn't?
Does not. No.
Where's the tie-in? I thought there was.
You had to be a National Guard member in order to have the job, and you could buy back time. I could buy back my active duty time towards my retirement for the federal job, but it didn't count towards my retirement for the
military. Because you can't double dip.
Right.
Anything. Okay.
So I got the job as a federal technician there, working at and running the ammo point. And part of that was they had a fuel truck at Camp Grafton. So anytime the helicopters from Bismarck came up, somebody needed to be refueled. So I got taught how to refuel a Black Hawk. So anytime they would come up there and they were doing a mission and I didn't have anything going on, they're like, hey, let's go fly. So I got to fly in. The Chinook is like the only one I didn't get to fly in because North Dakota didn't have them. I got to fly in Blackhawks, Kiowas, the Lakota they got right towards the end.
I had no idea.
It was so much fun, dude. Like, that was.
I thought that was primarily like a medical transport for.
What's that?
Hospital. The Lakota.
The Lakota.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I think because it was the.
I know there's a variant of it
medical unit
that is
had
medical.
It.
Okay.
Yeah, the medical unit in Bismarck that they had one.
A life flight. Yeah.
One of the Blackhawks that the North Dakota National Guard got right towards the end when I was getting out was number 3. Literally number 3, the 3rd Blackhawk ever made off the line.
Oh wow.
The North Dakota National Guard got it. And yeah, it was literally the serial number on it was blah, 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 0003. That was pretty sweet. That was, like I said, the National Guard, like you said, we're a jack of all trades, right? We're your carpenters that at guard drill are now infantry and combat engineers. Mm-hmm. And so you get...
There's resiliency.
Right.
Yeah, we can do this, we can do this, we can go back.
You're not a one-trick pony. You don't know. Yeah. So, like I said, I'd never deployed, but I had a lot of the units that went over there, like, they'd have, that's the National Guard, that's guard unit, that's where they're staying. And it's like the Taj Mahal over here versus like the regular armies. Like,
it's because we build Army and Air Force. Like, Air Force gives
but
hotels.
I mean, it's like, here's a sheet of plywood, right? Mm-hmm. And look what the National Guard did with right towards the beginning of the Iraq invasion, or whatever you want to call it. You had your regular Army units, and then you had your National Guard units that were driving Humvees with sandbags and plywood as armor, right? Because that's what you had.
Yep, the flak jackets were over the door and all that stuff put on the floor.
That's what you have. Like, there's a resiliency there.
The 141 had
whatever you can do to make it safer.
Gen 1 route clearance armor.
Right. Yep. And sandbags on the floors, and you're you're driving a 5-ton with a 50 cal turret in the back with plywood and sandbags, and yeah.
So when I wrap up this episode, talk about a heavy topic, suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So just the recording of this, it's the 28th of February, and was just one of the guys in our unit that I deployed with in Minot committed suicide, and he's not the first for our unit, and there's it's not a I don't even know how to talk about it right now, but it sucks. Like I went through the times where I felt like I would be my community, my friends would be better off with me dead. So I've had those thoughts. I'm also a Christian, a father, soon to be husband, and I know there's people that love me, that care for me, that I have support network, but then those thoughts still get in there.
Right.
I've been Christian all my life. I don't know what it's like to not know God. It's so, is it harder for someone who isn't Christian to deal with suicide or ideation, the thoughts? But being a resource officer, what advice do you have for people watching this that have those kind of things? Like, because you might be up to date on the most. I don't know.
If nothing, 988, it's the National Suicide Hotline. Easy number to remember, 988. If you need it, call it. The world's a better place with you in it. It's okay to not be okay, right? We need to get rid of this stigma, especially as men. Like, if you need to talk about it, talk about it. It's okay to not be okay, right? Like, yeah. It's okay. You'll get through it. We can get you through it. Just reach out. Some of the brightest lights, right, are the ones that are struggling the most. Yeah. I use Robin Williams, for instance, for like that dude. Who would ever know that guy was struggling, right? If something's wrong, say something to someone. We need to get rid of that stigma, and I think that's a big thing. Veterans, we're so tough. We self-sufficient, but we don't know how to reach out, and we don't know how to talk to people. We have our dark humor. Like, people don't know what we're going through. Just tell someone, talk to someone.
And our situation isn't. I've come to this. Our situation as National Guard members, or those who've been to a war zone or not, and because I haven't experienced any childhood abuse or that sort of trauma that there's seems to be way more common than I even knew about.
Right.
And that, in my mind, like, that would make me want to commit suicide, right? Like, having an trusted adult do something to you,
right.
That would be grounds for me saying, like, okay, I don't like this life or this version, I got it, and I'm out, right? Mm-hmm. So it's whatever you're going through, reach out, dial the hotline, talk to someone. When I was going through that, I had a friend bring me to the VA, check me in for the voluntary 36-hour hold overnight, and it went through the process, checked out, clear, everything, but if I wouldn't have reached out, I mean, no one can read your mind, and they can't just kidnap you and bring you,
Well, I mean, we can. Like, as a law enforcement officer, I've signed holds. I'm authorized to sign a hold on somebody, right? Like, right. And the biggest issue we have is we get people that are in crisis. We get them to the hospital. We get them in front of a mental health, well, most of the time a mental health professional. Hopefully that's the end goal, right? But then they're not honest, right? They tell the person what the person wants to hear. And like, I've brought people in on a mental health hold, and by the time I'm done writing my report on the incident, they're already released from the hospital because they're telling the doctor what the doctor wants to hear, right? Like, I'm fine. I don't know what he's talking about, blah, blah, blah. Just be honest, right? Tell the truth. Don't just tell people what you think they want to hear. Tell the truth. You're never going to, if you don't tell them what's going on, they can't read your mind, right? Be honest. Let someone know.
Do something you've never done. You can't go where you've never been.
Correct. Yeah. Be honest with people. If you got a plan, tell them your plan, right? Like, we got to be honest with people, or we got to be honest about our mental health, and we got to get rid of that stigma of I'm too macho to talk to someone, or just, I've never been through things in the military, right? Like, like I said, I'm deployed. I've seen some shit as a cop and as a firefighter that I will never, ever forget. We had I call it 23 hours of hell. I lost 2 kids in 23 hours, one in an ATV accident and one was a medical. We had 8 deputies that were the same 8 deputies on shift one night to the next night, the same sergeants, and we lost 2 kids, one of them in a tragic ATV accident. And my agency that I'm with puts mental health first, right? I will praise them. We had a group therapy session. They said, you guys aren't coming to work today. They brought somebody in who was a former fire chief in like Bloomington or something that was now, he was a group therapist for first responders. And I'm not joking, that second night before I got sent home, I lost this little girl, Native American foster child, right? She had medical issues, whatever. Me and my full-grown partner, I'm 35 years old and he's, 25 years old. We couldn't be from different walks of life, but we're standing in the front yard of this house just bawling, holding each other, full law enforcement uniforms. And he went home that night because he had had enough. He couldn't, right? Yeah. He needed a break. Obviously, somebody had to stay. I stayed and finish out my shift. Like the next day, they're like, the core 4 people, they're like, you guys are on admin leave right now. And you guys need to talk to someone before you come back to work. We had a group therapy session where we're hugging and crying in the sheriff's office. And that's what opened my eyes to like therapy, right? It's okay. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to not be okay. For those people that say, therapy is not for me, find something. Maybe you don't need to go talk to someone. Maybe you just need to go, hang out with your buddies, talk to your buddies, or I don't know, find something, find an outlet that is not self-harm. But you got to be honest with yourself, and we got to get rid of that stigma of I'm too macho, or, soldiers don't talk to people. We don't talk about our feelings, because the best way to get over it, and you're never going to get over it, right? The best way to cope with it is to talk about it, to make people aware of what you're going through, because if they don't know, we can't help, right?
And the path I was going down, I talk about my path towards wanting to commit suicide. I stopped paying my bills. Mm-hmm. I stopped caring about what my lawn looked like. There's various aspects. I stopped, I sort of self-detonated certain friendships, because well, I don't need you if this is where I'm going, then I don't need you.
Right. Or maybe you're even subconsciously you're trying to save them from.
Well, I knew what I wanted to do. Right. And my analogy on that is, you're a life as a responsible man, you're walking uphill constantly. Your struggle is never going to be easy. And you're carrying the pack of all your accomplishments, everything you've accumulated in life, all your stuff, all your supplies. Mm-hmm. And then the moment of me, making a mistake or whatever, and then falling into wanting to commit suicide was me tumbling down the hill, losing all my stuff. Mm-hmm. Everything's flying out of my pack and getting bumped in. And then the moment of not wanting to do it anymore, I finally come down to a stop on maybe a less steep part of the mountain. And then there's the process of I could just lay here and die, mm-hmm. In this analogy, or I can get back up. Getting back up is harder than just laying there and dying. Yep. Okay, get back up. You're bleeding. you don't have all your stuff. You've jettisoned all your relationships, your decorum, maybe the mental health break is like your hygiene, or you look like there's evidence of you not wanting to live anymore. Right. And, the other analogy is, and then, so to finish that one, and everyone has like, don't commit suicide, got it. Right. Heard you. But then I haven't seen any literature on, okay, what do I do now? No, I still haven't seen, no one's ever pointed me to something like, oh, this is from this person who, this is where you can get all the help now that you don't want to get, like, no, it's drug addicts, it's all these other, versions of people who are in crisis. Mm-hmm. But it's like, there's no help for the person that decided they didn't want to commit suicide anymore. Like, I ruined my life, not through, all these other crisis things, but I found it isolating, and like I had to figure it out on my own. And I still think I should write a book on that, just, saying it back from the edge, And then the other analogy is that the tree of, I guess, my life, everything I thought was valuable, all the leaves are falling off. And there was 2 leaves left. And they were my kids. And the thought was, my kids saying the next day or whatever, like, where's Dad? Mm-hmm. And I didn't want that to be the future. Sorry. So, what prompted me to reach out and text so-and-so that, I felt like I was going to do something stupid. I don't know. I think God saved me. I'll give credit to Jesus and all that. But it's community. You build a community. I think if we want to go down the spiritual conversation into this, Satan wants to isolate you because then he can destroy you easier. If you're surrounded and you're trying to be the best version of yourself that day with the best people then it's you're harder to take out. And alcohol, all these vices help take you out. One drink at a time, all these things, and it's hurt people. Hurt, right? Hurt people. And so I'm not trying to demonize anybody who's in those stages of addiction or recovery. Like, good for you. You want to try. You want to be here. You're here today. If you're watching this, I'm happy you're here.
Yep. Just talk to someone. Find that person, whoever it may be. If I'm your person, then I'm your person. I will be there for you till the end. I don't care who you are, right? I have sat and cried with people that I have literally just met that night. The world's a better place with you in it.
Yeah, and we're all, and I try not to swear, but I think this word is applicable, and like we're all different versions of fucked up. None of us are better than others. We all have our problems, and some just show it and hide it better than others. And
like I said, some of the people that are struggling the worst are the ones that hide it the best.
Yeah. So it's so Nick Ron, the founder of Warriors Garden in St. Paul, he also has Warriors Next Adventure. He runs a crisis hotline. We're going to put that in the description of this video. We'll put it up on the screen. My phone number is included. I haven't changed it in 5 years. I put it on my own Facebook page. I just put it out there for the public. Hey, if you don't want to talk to anyone, like, I'll hear you. I'd rather hear you if you choose me, you know, whatever. It's, yeah, don't think you need to end it with a permanent act like that. Like there's ways there's help. I don't know what that might be right now. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling.
Yeah.
But so if there's a possible person that thinking about joining the military, it's a hard transition from that serious. But what advice would you give someone who wants to leverage the National Guard to pay for their education and what to expect? And what were the top 3 things you loved about being a National Guard soldier?
First thing foremost is the camaraderie, right? I've met people that I would have never ever saw myself like hanging out with or associating with. And we were, what year did you graduate?
04.
04. So he's a year after me. We went to a school that had, 400 and 500 people in it. Did we hang out with each other like ever? Never. No. Like our paths rarely ever crossed, right?
I knew who you were. Yeah.
We knew who each other were. Our paths never crossed. To sharing a hotel at the Gladstone Inn in Jamestown, North Dakota.
Oh man. Okay.
You know,
let's keep those details. No, just kidding.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have. Our paths never crossed. Just the people I've met. Because I've never deployed, but I've had some pretty crazy, fun, not so fun experiences in the Guard that make me who I am. I feel the reason I'm a cop now because of my experience in the military, and like it shaped my life. And yeah, there's some shitty times, but the bad outweighed the good, right? I'll say,
and you can go active duty from National Guard.
Absolutely.
National Guard isn't sort of
you're not like stuck
you want
there.
it to
like
be. You can transition.
I know plenty of people that were National Guard, went to basic training for National Guard, and they're like, "This is awesome. I love this." And like, they never went back to the National Guard. They got home and like went active duty. Like that's a thing. You can do that.
You can be paid to be a soldier. Yeah.
Right.
Professional soldier.
And that's some people's paths, to each their own, right? As far as like getting paid for college, like I hope it's easier than it used to be.
I think it is, yeah.
Because I didn't see much money from the Guard other than the GI Bill and stuff like that. But it was tough to get the money for tuition reimbursement and stuff like that. But you know,
I had a $6,000 signing. No, I think I had a 3.
But
in 2003,
right.
$3,000 for a 16, soon to be 17. And I signed 2 days after I turned 17.
Yeah,
was a big deal. Like, $3,000.
Like I got $3,000, but I didn't get it until, like I said, 2001.
After it's taxed and split in half.
Well, but 2001, right? I signed up. I didn't get that money then. I got that money in 2003. 2 years later, I got half of it. Yeah. And then the year after that, I got the other half. It's like, woo, whoop-dee, $1,500 after taxes. Like, obviously, I didn't do it for the money.
Yeah, drill pay was gas money. That's all the drill pay was.
Yeah.
And then you ended up spending more at the bar than your drill pay anyways.
But I mean, I guess I had the opportunity. Like, I did guard drill like a mile south of my house.
I do not want to glamorize alcohol. Sorry, I should.
Right. Yeah. I did guard drill a mile south of my house at the time. Right. So, I mean, gas money. It paid for my car payment. I had a nice car in high school, but that was it.
For me, it got me out of Devils Lake, North Dakota, off the reservation. It got me to Fargo, it got me to Carrington, got me to Jamestown. I love traveling.
Yep. Yeah, and the first time I ever was on a plane was to basic training by myself. Like, that was the first time I've ever been on a plane.
That was my second time. Yeah, that was my second time. My ears wouldn't pop. I was freaking out. Like, I was just, they're like, pretend you're chewing gum. I'm like, what?
I mean, I'd been on a helicopter before that at like some event at my grandparents' hometown, but I'd never been on a plane. Just the experiences, like, do it. If you're thinking about joining the military, do it. Like,
well, my best friend Brandon Langrud, he was a F-16 crew chief. Fargo had F-16
they did
Falcons.
Yep.
And he was crew chief on that. And when I deployed, the Happy Hooligans were up to go, and he was the alternate crew chief in case that crew chief couldn't deploy. He was going to deploy to Balad. I'm
Okay.
like, you mean Brett? Like we would have been there literally at the same time. Like,
Right.
bro, are you?
I don't know.
Out of all the dudes that graduated, you would have been on
People
the base.
who, you know, talk shit about the National Guard. Do you know who the first F-16s in the air were after 9/11?
Happy hooligans.
Happy Hooligans. They were in D.C. for something. I don't know why.
They were the first sortie.
They were the first aircraft in the air after 9/11.
North Dakota.
Was it pilots from Devil's Lake,
Happy
North Dakota?
Hooligans.
I don't know if
Rough
you ever knew
Riders.
this. Scotty Otis, his dad was a Happy Hooligans pilot.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he was
Yep.
my boss at Pizza Ranch.
Yep.
No, he
literally had a bumper.
Shout out to Mr. Otis.
Yes.
He's not Scotty. He's Mr. Otis to me.
Mr. Otis.
Yeah, Mr. Otis. He taught me how to clean the front end of the restaurant. Like it was, you didn't mop a kitchen
Yeah.
back
So
area unless you did it 3 times.
He literally had a bumper sticker on his vehicle that said, "My other car's an F-16."
Yeah, I think he put something on the Pizza Ranch
Yeah.
delivery car.
Yeah.
But he
So-
was just a great guy. It
Yeah,
teaches
and
you a lot of
it's
skills
crazy.
if you're
Like you have an
interested.
F-16 pilot that is, at the time, I don't know if they still do it or not. Like he was an F-16 pilot, but he only did it 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't
To
active
manage their
duty.
flight hours.
Yeah, like he drilled just like the rest of us and flew an F-16. Like how badass is that?
Right,
And you can do,
like
can do
okay,
anything.
welding. You mentioned welding. You mentioned allied trades.
Yep.
I didn't really get exposed to that
Yep.
because I was just 12B and then
Right.
And I ended up volunteering for my deployment. So if you think like you're going to join and you're going to instantly go to Iraq, I joined for college money to go to
Right.
Bible college. No, I'm not
Right.
okay. Trinity Bible College was my
Yep.
only college I applied to my
Ellendale?
senior year. Ellendale.
Yep.
Because I wanted to be a pastor. I wanted to talk, and I still think talking about Jesus and the Bible is the highest form of topics you can do. And
Yep.
Ben Halverson
Yep.
on the way to drill Carrington, we were going because the 141 came back, and he's like, "Would you ever volunteer?" I'm like, "No, we already volunteered. We already joined. Our unit
Right.
deployed when we were in whatever. If we get deployed again, then yeah. But I'm not
Right.
gonna. I got college.
Right.
Those were my exact words. We get down to drill, whatever. We get in formation. Some captain comes. He's like, "We need 50 volunteers to go to Iraq with ACO 161 and Minot." I'm standing in formation, and I know how to not lock my knees. I know how to stand for hours without passing out. The whole room just it felt like Twilight Zone, and they fall out. See me in the back of formation. Like I'm like, he's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I have to go." He's like, "What?" I'm like, he's like, I know what I just said.
Right.
I know.
Right. Weird.
And like, I feel like I have to do this. And he's like, "You're crazy. No, how about you just take a day?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, but why do I feel like I need to go now?" And so I volunteered, and all the boxes were green, like all, pass, go, collect $200, all that stuff. And I ended up praying for the guys. I was the youngest guy, and I, made a bunch of stupid mistakes, but you learn from, and like one of my guys in the wedding, April 18th, is one of the guys I went to Iraq with.
Yeah.
And him and his wife are groomsmen and bridesmaid.
Like I said, you meet people you'd never. I had going to college. I had a buddy in college that obviously I was already in the military, and he was like, I'm thinking I might join the military. I said, "Well, what do you want out of your life?" It's like, I want to travel. I want to go see places. I'm like, don't join the Army.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to see places, join the Navy. About 3-4 weeks later, he enlisted in the Navy and was an electrician on a sub.
Yeah, so like the blue
He's an
collar
electrician
trades.
on a submarine. I said, you joined the Navy. I told you if you wanted to go see places, join the Navy. You took a job on a submarine. You're not seeing places.
Right.
But no, he loved it. He's not in anymore, but he retired. And yeah, if you want to see places, join the Navy, right? Like no judgment. If you sign up, you're a brother, you're a sister. I don't care if it's the Navy or the Marines. I don't care what your favorite cran flavor is. No, I'm kidding. Just a little jab at the Marines there.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about doing it, that's awesome. I'll encourage you to do it, but
Definitely think it through, because we can talk about
Yeah.
whether these conflicts are.
My daughter and I
not worth
shared
it.
a moment here. I don't know if this is I don't know if she's still going to do it or not. But she was like, Dad, I want to join the military. I want to join the National Guard. She's working through some issues because she was diagnosed with ADHD when she was a kid. So she's trying to get that waiver, and they're being bucky about it, whatever. But she was worried that I was like, I was going to get mad at her. And I came home from work one day and she's crying, and I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I have something I need to tell you. And I'm like, okay, like, what's going on? She's like, I think I'm joining the military. And it was instant tears. Like, we sat in our kitchen and just hugged for about 20 minutes. All of a sudden, my wife comes in and sees us both crying, and her first words is, who am I going to have to kill?
Oh, oh yeah.
I was like, no, happy tears. But no, I will encourage any, like, if that's something you're thinking about, like, do it.
But yeah, there's no hiding things. Like maybe the good old days, you could, hide your ADHD and just kind of say you don't have, never taken Ritalin, you don't know where Ritalin is.
Right.
I don't know who those, but
right.
those recruiters would told those people then, like, okay, well, thanks for being honest with me, but if you say this, this is going to happen. If you say this is going to happen, and it's like, between you and God what you want to do.
They got her medical records somehow, and they found out she was on Ritalin at one point.
AI is. I don't know. I was a recruiter with Minnesota.
Yeah.
And at that time, the FBI background checks, we were fingerprinting all prospective recruits. And the first recruit I thought I put on the board, which I did on Friday, but I come in on Monday.
And it's not there anymore?
He's not anymore because the criminal system didn't process him. So he did the crime, whatever, got out.
Yeah.
Went to join the military. He thought he could get in. He technically did. He went through the system. Yeah. And then Monday got flagged, got pulled off the board. And they're like, you're back at zero. Don't recruit a criminal anymore. I'm like, what? They're like,
hers was like, hers was, I don't know.
AI is going crazy with.
They found out that somewhere, like when she came to us, like she was on a ton of medications. We're like, whoa, let's just back off, take her off everything, and we'll start at zero, and we'll work our way back and figure out what. She hasn't been on ADHD meds since she was 9 years old. Yeah. But they found that in her medical thing, and I don't know. I don't think she disclosed.
They were handing it out to kids like candy.
Yeah. And now she's having a tough time getting in because of that. So, fingers crossed.
Leaving from Indian school to Devil's Lake, I was immediately put on Ritalin.
Right. Yeah. I was on Ritalin. Rightfully so. I should have been. I was on Ritalin as an adult too, and it changed my life. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, do your research. I didn't know what a combat engineer actually did. Like, Demoja, you did not tell me we blew stuff up. You said we camouflage tanks and we help the infantry. That was
right. At the same time, like,
I was like, you did not say explosives. You left out the key element, right? Like explosives.
But he's like the realest recruiter I've ever talked to.
He's the best. I
he didn't embellish things. He didn't he let you figure it out. Like, but he didn't lie to you, right? Did he lie to you?
No, there's probably 5 or 6 more sentences after the camouflage tank thing that.
But that's not lying to you. Like,
but even still.
But if he would have said you got to blow shit up, like you were definitely signing on that box, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Like if he got you to do it without saying explosives.
I was 16 when I was in the Alps and getting free Gatorade and all that stuff like we were all doing with Jory Severson.
Yep.
And it was just like, well, one, my dad's military, grandpa's military, I'm third generation. And it was the biggest fear that I would not, because I didn't have prospects. It was Bible college, and then if the military didn't, I don't know how to pay for my education. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like the military services, the military offers an amazing adventure if you're up for it. And it got, Richard off the reservation. He traveled, he saw all the continents except Australia. His ship was in port in Guantanamo Bay. When the Cuban Missile Crisis kicked off, he had to pull out of port, and the ship was the first one to blockade. Like, it was the real Top Gun. It's the most realist Top Gun.
Right.
Where it's it goes from training, because they were doing a training mission with the officers.
Yep.
And then the phone call, no, you need to pull blockade. Like, wait, we're going from training to real world war.
So when I was a track vehicle mechanic, like I said. I was a volunteer firefighter, and one of the volunteer firefighters that I was with in Devil's Lake, Nathan Butler, his name was.
Yeah.
His dad or his family owns Butler Machinery, the Caterpillar dealership in North Dakota, South Dakota, whatever.
Yeah, no, I see those.
And I told him I was looking for a new job. And he's like, well, what do you do in the military? I'm like, well, I'm a track vehicle mechanic. He goes, well, we're opening a shop in Devils Lake. You want to be the first mechanic I hire? I was a certified Caterpillar diesel mechanic, and I had no formal training. It was all military. Everything it can open so many doors for you. Like, it's amazing. So if you're thinking about it, I would encourage you to do it, but I also don't want to influence you either.
It's like every decision needs to be.
Think about it, right? Yeah.
Research, you have AI.
Think about it.
Information's free these days.
I would encourage anybody to. It was a positive experience for me. So I know people obviously have negative experiences with it, but for me it was positive. I'd do it again. Yeah.
Good. If you could pick 2 people to be the guests on this show next, who would it be?
Oh goodness.
Call out.
Jim Moe.
Okay. I've talked to him. I do want to interview
our former fire chief. Yep. He was my first sergeant in the National Guard. God, I'm trying to.
He's the mayor of Devils Lake.
He is. Another person.
Yeah.
Do you know who Paul Deegan is?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Paul Deegan.
He does all the ironwork on Facebook.
It'd be pretty tough logistics getting his butt up here from Albuquerque.
Well, we could probably go down there.
Paul Deegan, right there. He's a cool dude.
I want to get Lane Adams on here.
Yeah, Lane.
Because he was in Afghanistan.
Yep.
Also, I can interview him and his wife. That would be awesome. Lane, can we both interview you and Alit? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but Paul Deegan would be a good one too if you can talk to him, and maybe he can bring some chili. He comes every year and brings a load of chilies up. He roasts chilies.
Man,
those would be my 2 that I think would be fun to interview.
All right. Well, let's open the last 2 packs here.
Okay.
The heroes. We'll end this.
Now I know how to do this. I think. Other way. No.
Which I'm just saying, you couldn't open that pack. And,
what the? How do I not?
Say, grab the shark fin.
Okay.
Hold it up. Okay. Hold that and then push this forward. There you go.
There you go.
Just saying, a 6-year-old girl opened her pack without any assistance.
Practice. So this first one, what do we?
So you put the thing down.
Burn that one, right?
And this goes at the bottom.
Goes to the bottom.
So it's called the pack trick to reveal the last card in the pack is the big one. So
this
is for suspense and dramatic flair. Oh, you get packs for that. Whatever. I don't know half these names. There's over 1,000 Pokémon, but this is the most successful card game franchise in the world. Okay.
What's this one?
I got a Pikachu. And what do I got?
A Fickle Spitting and a Ent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we just got Pokémon, which means if there's the good card packs are reserved for the kids.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So we got rid of the bad packs.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Thanks for being my guest.
Yes.
We'll talk
appreciate
again.
it. Yes. Thank you.
Go
It's an
and do
honor.
great things.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks, everybody.